narcoterrorism and the long reach of the U.S. law enforcement. And today we continue our look at that subject. A few weeks ago, the subcommittee heard testimony from private witnesses on the growing nexus between drugs and terrorism. This afternoon, we're joined by the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration's Special Operations Division. Nothing better illustrates this threat than the Iranian-directed plot to assassinate a foreign ambassador on U.S. soil, detailed by the Justice Department last month. A key conspirator in this plot approached a DEA informant seeking to hire a Mexican drug cartel and their hit squad to carry out this attack. The plot was planned over multiple meetings in Mexico between the man now in U.S. custody and people he believed to be cartel members. This foiled plot is the latest example of how the DEA has reached beyond U.S. borders to investigate and arrest and bring to justice those involved in terrorist conspiracies. This plot wasn't a surprise to the subcommittee because back in 2006, we held hearings on the border where we heard testimony from local law enforcement that the drug cartels would move, in their words, anyone or anything so long as the price was right. Iran apparently believed $1.5 million was the right price for this brazen attack. As we'll hear today, an increasing number of U.S. designated foreign terrorist organizations are involved in drug trafficking. As investigator Doug Farah testified last month, in his words, growing ties between transnational organized crime from multiple regions and terrorist organizations are morphing into something new, which represents unprecedented dangers for our country. Whether it is in the Russian mafia, or the FARC, or the Chinese triads, or Zetas, Hezbollah, the Quds Force, Al-Shabaab, many of these different groups may be connected through super fixers, as they're called. Super fixers, or shadow facilitators is a word you sometimes hear. And these are individuals or groups that provide the weapons, provide the sophisticated document forgeries, provide the money laundering capabilities, and they work for both the terrorists and they work for the drug cartels. One premier super fixer was Victor Bout, who supplied weapons to insurgents and militias and terrorists. Bout was brought down by DE agents in 2008 for conspiring to supply weapons to the FARC, a designated terrorist organization. After a long saga, Bout was extradited from Thailand to the United States and this month was found guilty of all charges against him. The team that nabbed Bout is part of DEA's Special Operations Division. They've had other high-profile successes. As Mr. Maltz will testify, these operations exemplify what DEA does best, maximizing limited resources while working closely with foreign counterparts, leveraging DEA's vast array of confidential sources to infiltrate the highest levels of the world's most significant and notorious organized criminal organizations. But there are always ways to get better. A former top DEA official told us last month that these shadow facilitators haven't been attacked to the extent necessary. Even with the will, the Special Operations Division has only 2 of these field enforcement teams dedicated to narcoterrorism cases. With a unique set of authorities and human sources and experience in running complex organizations, the DEA has been bringing a cutting-edge approach to attacking narcoterrorism. But the DEA's presence in Africa is spread very, very thin. Despite the dramatic increase in drug trafficking across West and North Africa, many of these countries are covered by DEA offices in Europe. With a mix of al-Qaeda presence, ungoverned spaces, and weak institutions, the threat of narcoterrorism in this part of the world is a real concern.